Anyone online? Can you confirm that you can hear us? Thank you. Thanks, Barry. All right.
Hi, this is Barry. I can hear you.
Great. Thank you, Barry. Mahalo nui. All right, folks, we're going to jump in. Do we have anybody to offer a opening pule for us this evening? Anybody here would like to offer pule for us to start? Mahalo palala. Go ahead.
Nanai ke ana na ko to onu ko i tau I te wa mau te ai ai mau ai ke ana ko a ho mo I te wa o pono i tono no ko I te anai kamakai pului ana na huai te ai e me ine ai yari ina kunu no ko tau holi nai no no ko te au atu mau ai te ai ni mau kunu no ko kuliana e meu ai ke ana ko a kamakani ulumano ono ko au ai te ai e meu ono ko o kani kuno huai e o tu kani kalo kavaile ula e meu ku e meu ine kai luna I kai lalo I na ho o kupia o mauna I te ai e ai
Hallelujah. Oe palala. Thank you. All right, gang, we have a few instructions just real quickly. The purpose of the neighborhood board and the neighborhood board plan is to increase and assure effective citizen participation in decisions of this government. Rules of engaging: anyone wishing to speak will be asked online to click the raise hand icon and recognized by the chair to address comments to the chair. Remarks should not exceed 3 minutes. Please ensure your microphone is muted unless you are speaking. You can mute and unmute for those dialing in on by phone by pressing *6. Please state your first and last name for the record before moving into your comment or question. Written testimony may also be submitted via email using the contact listed on the Neighborhood Commission Office website. If you're in person, similarly, raising hand and then you'll be acknowledged. Please introduce yourself when you come to the microphone, move into your comment, and then also recognizing the time limit of 3 minutes. Aloha akahai, meaning kindness to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi, meaning unity to be expressed with harmony. Meaning agreeability to be expressed with pleasantness. Ha'aha'a, meaning humility to be expressed with modesty. And ahunui, meaning patience to be expressed with perseverance in accordance with Hawaii Revised Statutes Chapter 5-7.5. Is how we want to conduct our behavior in the evening. Notes: the board may not take action on the agenda items, the board may take action on any agenda item as required by the State Sunshine Law, HRS 92. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to said agenda, which requires a two-thirds vote. 13-member board will be needed to add any item to the agenda for action. Doing so, however, is not permitted if 1, the item to be added is of reasonable and major importance, and 2, action on the item by the board will affect a significant number of persons. Determination on whether a specific matter may be added to the agenda must be done on a case-by-case basis. Please silence all electronic devices. This meeting is being recorded. For us participating here in person, this is an emergency exit, so please treat it as such. If we are in any situation, there's an exit here to the left and then go out this way. Restrooms are down this hall, right, if you guys need them. And then we're on a school campus, so any things that you might need to do, please make sure that you're far away from the campus in order to do so. At this time, we're going to move on to our roll call. We'll turn it over to our board assistant, Melissa. Members, if you're online, please make sure your cameras are presently on. And then when your name is called, please respond. Mahalo kako.
Thank you, Chair. Member Hoku Akana. I see you online. Member Hoku Akana. Thank you. Member Kukui Akana.
Present.
Thank you. Member Kamakea Ohelo. I don't see him at the moment. Chair Kane.
Yo.
Thank you. Member Makaila. I don't see her at this time. Member McKee?
Eo.
Thank you. Member Milan? Not here at the moment. Member Mokulihua? Not here at the moment. Member Ni?
Eo.
Thank you. Member O'Mahony?
Eo.
Thank you. Member Ralston? I do not. Oh, Member Ralston? We see you online, so I'll mark you present. And Member Wong? I don't see her right now. Chair, you have 7 members present, quorum established.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. We're going to move on. Olalo no Ea of the month, number 22. This is a reading from our Olalo no Ea Puke. Ahuvale na pali kahakayo Camilo. Exposed are the sea cliffs at Camilo Beach, said of a woman who sits carelessly and exposes herself. Camilo Beach is in Ka'u. Again, Olalo no Ea of the month, number 22. Ahuvale na pali kahakayo Camilo. Do we have any of our OPO from Kayapuni for this evening's? Ole, okay. We'll invite any kupuna at this time. We've carved out a section before the agenda begins for our kupuna who wish to address and share anything that's of importance to them, to this board, to this community as a way of capturing their voices. As many of us know, we are losing our kupuna at a steadily rate. And so we want to document and give them as much time and exposure as we can. Anyone online or anyone here in present that would like to share a message with our community? Come in. Still have room. We can pull up some more chairs. Mahalo, gang. Okay. We typically will offer a position here at the agenda for any kupuna or any of our OPO to offer a message, to share their voice with us. So recognizing none present, we will go ahead and move on to filling of one at-large vacancy. Do we have any nominations for an at-large position this evening? Anyone interested in filling the last seat on this board? I see none online. Anyone in the crowd? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and defer that item to the next meeting. We have one position at large for service here on the board. If folks are interested in that and have questions, please feel free to reach out and we're happy to assist. We're going to go through election of officers, and I apologize ahead of time, gang. July marks the start of our work period, so we have to go through a whole section of deciding officers, etc., getting some rules and things like that. So please pardon the few minutes that it's going to take for us to get to that. Officers that need to be elected are the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, as well as any others determined to be needed to conduct the business of the board. At this time, are there any recommendations or nominees to take the chair position? Members? But don't. Oku?
I nominate. Mahalo.
Okay. Mahalo. Any other nominees from our board for the position of chair? Currently, the nomination is just for myself. No, not yet. We're okay. Okay, hearing no other nominations, mahalo nui for that privilege. Hoku, I do accept that nomination. Recognizing that there's only one nomination, we'll just go through real quick. When your name is called, you'll state the last name of the individual, in this case, Kane, for that role. Again, members online, you folks will need to put your cameras on to position your vote. And then recognizing Kuike present at 7:10 p.m. That brings our board members to 8, I believe. So when Melissa calls your name, please state Kane if you support, and we'll go from there. Mahalo.
Thank you, Chair. Member Hoku Akana?
Aye.
Please state the last name. Oku.
Chair Kane. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Member Kukuya Kana.
I.
Last name, please.
Please state the last name, gang. Kane.
Akana.
No, not
Kane.
yours, mine.
Hello, way.
You tell we
Kane.
don't do this often,
Mahalo.
yeah? Mahalo, Kukui. Thank you. Okay, again, we're voting for the position of chair. Nomination was Chair Kane to continue in that role. So when your name is called, state Kane if you support that. If you don't, say no. Okay, mahalo.
Member Kamakea Ohelo.
Kane.
Thank you. Member Connie.
Kane.
Thank you. Member Makaila. I don't see her yet. Member McKeague.
Kane.
Thank you. Member Milan. I don't see. Member Mokulihua. Not here. Member Nee.
Kane.
Member O'Mahony.
Kane.
Member Alston.
Kane.
Member Wong. Not here. 8 votes, Chair.
Mahalo nui. With 8 votes, we'll go ahead and lock that in. Mahalo nui for your service in that. We have vice chair for the next position. Is there a representative that wants to nominate for vice chair's role? Board members, any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Kuike.
Okay, there's a nomination for Kuike. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close that. Kuike, do you accept the nomination to vice chair?
Yes, I accept the nomination. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Members, when your name is called, please state Kamakea Ohelo as your answer if you support the nomination for Kuike to continue to serve as vice chair. Mahalo. Recognizing Lily Makaila at 7:12 p.m. Mahalo nui.
Member Hoku Akana.
Oh, hello. Mahalo.
Thank you. Member Kukuya Akana.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Thank
Mahalo.
you. Member Kamakea Ohelo.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Chair Kane.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Member Makaila.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Member McKeague.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Member Milan. Not here. Member Mokulihua. Still not here. Member Nee.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Member O'Mahony.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Member Alston.
Kamakea Ohelo.
Thank you. And Member Wong. Not here. 9 votes, Chair.
Mahalo nui. Thank you, gang, for that. Mahalo for your service there. We have the position of secretary. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary for the board? Members, any nomination for secretary? Moyata has been doing it recently, so if you folks want to do that, that's fine too. If anyone else would like to nominate, please make that known now. Board members, nominations for secretary. Well, if we don't nominate, we essentially will defer it. Yeah. She's not, but she'll say yes.
We can nominate her without her being here.
We want to give them an opportunity to decline if they choose to. But if you feel like, yeah, then say that.
I nominate Moyata Mokulehua.
Mayata, are you online? Okay, hearing no other nominations?
Chair, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
What are the duties that come with secretary?
Mahalo. The main duty is to kokua the chair, the vice chair, with some of the paperwork things. It's very minimal because we do most of it. In addition, what we've asked the secretary to do is to kilo and look through the drafted minutes for the meetings ahead of our meeting as soon as Melissa publishes, and then to take a look and be that second set of eyes before it comes to the board. Minimal things. There's other things like maintaining decorum and kokua, just as any other board member, but the specifics of that are pretty like specific to helping with the meeting minutes, which are drafted by the NCO. Would you like to do that, Kukui?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Akana is another nominee. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. We do want to ask, as I said, we try to give those folks an opportunity to decline, if anything. So Kukui, do you accept that nomination?
Aye.
And then we will try again with Moyata. Moyata, are you online? Okay, recognizing Moyata is not online to accept that nomination. We'll just keep that in mind, okay? So we have two options this evening. We have Akana and then we have Mokulehua. Members, when your name is called, please state your vote there. Mahalo nui. And then noting member Lulu Milan at 7:16 p.m. Mahalo.
Member Hoku Akana,
Akana.
Member Kukui Akana,
Akana.
Vice Chair Kamakea Ohelo,
Akana.
Chair Kane,
Akana.
Member Makaila,
Akana.
Member Maki,
Akana.
Member Milan.
Akana.
Thank you. Member Mokulehua, not here. Member Ni,
Akana.
Member O'Mahony,
Akana.
Member Ralston, Member Ralston, voting for secretary.
Ted, your vote, Ted.
I'll come back. Member Wong, not here. One more time, Member Ralston.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a bit of a problem here. Akana.
Thank you. 10 votes, Chair for Akana.
Mahalo nui. Thank you, Kukui, for stepping into that. And we look forward to working with you in that role. The last position is not one we actually use, but it is a treasurer's position. For a while now, we haven't actually had the treasurer do any actual work related to board budgeting, etc. But we do have to have it as a process. So the position of treasurer, is there a nomination for the position of treasurer? Board members. Is there a nomination? Who? Karen? Okay, so we have a nomination for Karen O'Mahony. Is there any other nominees for treasurer? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close that. Members, you're voting for treasurer. Please state the name O'Mahony if that is your choice. Mahalo nui.
Member Hoku Akana,
Omahoni.
Member Kukui Akana,
Sorry, before we go, I want to get the pronunciation down right. O'Mahony.
O'Mahony.
O'Mahony. Okay. Kalamai, we all know names are important, so let's get it right. O'Mahony. Please resume. Mahalo.
Member Kukui Akana,
O'Mahony.
Vice Chair Kamakea Ohelo,
Omahani.
Chair Kane,
O'Mahony.
Member Makaila,
O'Mahony.
Member Maki,
O'Mahony.
Member Milan.
O'Mahony.
Thank you. Member Mokulehua, still not here. Member Ni,
O'Mahony.
thank you. Member O'Mahony,
O'Mahony.
Member Ralston,
Waimānalo.
And Member Wong? Not here. Chair, 11 votes.
Mahalo nui. Thank you for stepping up into that position. Mahalo. Members, we're going to move on. We have the Honolulu Fire Department up first, followed by HPD. Do we have anyone from fire? Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Captain David Schubert, Waimānalo Fire Station. The incident statistics for last month were 39 medical calls, 3 nuisance fires, and 2 brush fires. The fire safety tip for the month deals with hiking safety. Popular summer activities often include hiking our beautiful island trails. Here are some helpful tips to ensure you enjoy your adventures safely. Plan ahead. Choose a trail that is within your skill and stamina level. Visit www.hawaiitrails.org for more information about official trails. Check the weather. Remember to factor in the rain, wind, and swell forecasts. Stay on the trails. Never leave the trail or endanger yourself for a photo. Bring a buddy. Ensure someone knows your plans and watch the time. Ensure you can return home before it gets dark.
Thank you so much for being here. Members, questions for HFD? Seeing none. Anyone from the public online? Anyone from the public here for HFD? Seeing none. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank
Captain.
you.
Mahalo nui. HPD is up next, followed by our ocean safety.
Good evening, board members and members of the community. My name is Lieutenant Drew Akagi. I'm lieutenant in District 4, which covers Waimānalo. I'd like to present the stats for you guys for this month. This month, we had 2 motor vehicle thefts compared to 0 the previous month. We had 1 burglary this month compared to 1 the previous month. We had 5 thefts compared to 5 thefts the previous month. This month, we had 0 car break-ins compared to 2 car break-ins the previous month. And 0 robberies this month compared to 0 robberies the previous month. We had 526 calls of service in your community compared to 462 the month prior. From the end of May through September, we consider that one of the deadliest periods of traffic accidents and fatalities. So we just ask everyone Kokua to take care of the roadways. We do step up our enforcement during that period to try and keep the community safe. So if you see us up and about, that's what we're trying to do. Other than that, be happy to answer any questions from the community board.
Mahalo nui. Thank you for being here, Lieutenant. Members online, any questions for HPD? Members present?
Wait, I do.
Thank you. Lulu, go ahead.
I just wanted to give him a big thank you, mahalo, for coming the other night. I had an incident here on my farm late at night, and the response was amazing. The officer came, did a drive-through, and he told me next time it happens, give a call back, and you guys will be here to just do a drive-through to scare anybody away. So I really appreciate it.
Mahalo, Lulu. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other community members online? Community members present. Come. Please introduce yourself at the microphone. Anyone else from the community for HPD? Okay, mahalo.
Hi, good evening. My name is Canella. I am a constituent of Hawaii and a resident of Waimānalo. My question for HPD is how important is community safety and public safety here in Waimānalo to our HPD department and division? And the second question is our HPDs that are assigned in this community ready for a houseless expansion?
Okay, we'll see if we can get an answer. If not, we can prepare a
Yeah.
little bit more.
You can also prepare. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Well, community safety is number 1 for us. That's our job. Keep everyone safe. We take every call that we get seriously. As far as the expansion goes, we're gonna look more into it as we're slowly learning, especially tonight, what's going on here. That we can be better prepared and work together with the community to whatever you guys' needs are. But we look forward to working with you folks to make your guys' community better. Absolutely.
Mahalo. If you guys want to connect separately to have that conversation, Kanala, please do so. Mahalo. Seeing no other questions for HPD, Lieutenant, thank you so much for being here. Did you want to introduce anybody else or?
I just wanted to introduce my captain. This
Okay.
is Captain Michael Campbell. He is the captain for the District 4 commander and comes out to say hi once in a while.
Captain, you have any words you want to share with our community?
Surprisingly, maybe 20 years ago, this was my beat. So I was here for many years. I recognized some faces and whatnot. I worked in the evenings into the early mornings. So thank you for all the support back then. Once again, I'm here. I'm the captain for the windward side, and I've been doing this for about 2 years over on this side, and I get a lot of feedback from this community, and we try to be as responsive as we can. Keep those questions coming. And if there's anything that we can do better, I would love to hear from you. And once again, thank you for being such a solid and great community that you are. It's nice to visit you guys. Thank you.
Captain, thank you so much for being here. Mahalo. Wow, look at that. You get clapping hands for you walking in. Do we have Aka outside? Ocean Safety, thanks Aka. Next up is Ocean Safety Department, Lieutenant Aka Tamashiro.
Aloha, everybody. Mahalo for having me. Was it for us, for this portion of the island, this is always our busiest time of year. And so far, our numbers have been pretty busy. We had back-to-back salt swells starting off, followed up by some reinforcement ones that weren't in the high surf advisory, quote-unquote level, but still, China Walls has been very active. Sandy Beach has been very active. We had pretty much our standard type of rescues and preventatives all throughout District 2, including numerous kayaks out at the Mokuluas. Luckily, none of them were fatal or no serious injuries. Our jet ski that is based out of Kailua and also covers Waimānalo, they're consistently staying on the water. So those guys are the response time for people in need. In fact, the Waimānalo Canoe Club just on Saturday morning pulled outside of the beach park, and I'd say within 10 minutes, the ski was on the water, got to them, was able to get everybody to the beach and assist back to shore. So it worked out unreal, and I was really grateful that Coach Duke called my personal number. So our communication nowadays is working really good. And so, but that doesn't mean we're going to slow down. We're going to keep trying to do better. Like I mentioned in the last two, we recently got iPads for all towers and mobile responder trucks. The upside is that we're able to get better numbers faster, hopefully real-time numbers. The downside is the iPads are being exposed to the elements, so we're trying our best to keep them alive. And then also we're still learning on what's the best way and how the computer is actually saving our numbers. Certain numbers that were listed as one thing by hand in the past are now slightly different. So this month's numbers might be given a little bit differently, but we're working on it. Unfortunately, the search for the missing father and son on the backside of Hanama Bay didn't show any results. That area of water we've been getting numerous calls, not just for that. A few days later, when some canoes were making their way up from Honolulu Bay to the Waimānalo Regatta, they ended up swamping 3 boats with, I believe, 20 people on board. All our skis, and I really wanted to, and I told HFD mahalo because their co-response, it was a yard sale with a lot of people in the water. One of the vessels was severely damaged. I don't think that thing's going to be able to be used in the future. But our main goal is always people over property. So everybody made it back to the shore safely. Let's see. Yeah, also on that search for the missing father and son, we're really grateful because while it might have taken a little bit more for us to make sure that our resources were up and available, in the meantime, HFD and Coast Guard they were on it right there with us from the start all the way through finish. And so we're really grateful. We learned a lot. There are some things that we definitely could have done better, but overall, in the span of the 4 days of searching, I think it went as best as it could be. But again, unfortunately, we didn't have any results. Switching over to some numbers. So for the month of June, we had just shy of 700 calls for service involving 17,854 people. Was it? Out of those, I believe 15,000 were our preventative actions. And for those of you that might not know, that's when a lifeguard sees somebody heading into some type of danger, i.e. walking into the water during high surf at Makapu or Sandys, or inexperienced folks with kayaks and stuff trying to launch it like the pier, one of the piers. We'll stop and be like, hey, how's it guys? And try to give them safer options. A little over 2,000 minor medical aids. That can be something as minor as just handing out some band-aids or wrapping somebody's already existing wound. Or if they get injured, you know, like surfing over at Sandy Beach, then we'll pull them out, clean it up, send them on their way. 145 rescues with 10 major medical aids, and that's something involving the ambulance. And usually almost every time if the ambulance is coming, fire is coming. So I gotta say, like, I'm really stoked on our three-prong approach of having EMS, fire, ocean safety, all showing up. The response times have gotten a lot better, especially with us keeping the ocean safety truck at the Waimānalo fire station. 14 calls involving a boat or some vessel that could be kayak to a motorboat, and a few missing people. And overall, all the people that were missing, sometimes that's us assisting for shoreline searches and whatnot. Aside from that, I think that more or less covers everything we have for June. If there's any questions.
Aka mahalo nui. Members online, questions for ocean safety?
Yes, I've got a
Seeing none,
question,
member
Chair
present.
Connie.
Oh, Ted? Yep, go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, I heard they mentioned earlier of the kayaks at the Moku Islands were somehow or were involved in the numbers that we were hearing. I just wondered, that's a commercial operation, most of those kayaks. I suspect they're not privately owned or club owned. They're all coming from that operation down there at 33 Kailua Street. And that's actually under DNLR permits that they go onto the Moku Islands. Does either DNLR or the commercial operator have any higher level of responsibility to maintain safety or to promote safety over what a plain old citizen would do? I mean, it's a commercial operation depending on you guys for their safety.
Yeah, that's a great point. In the years that I've worked both as a jet ski operator and lieutenant, I've talked with them numerous times. Most of them, if we do have high surf and whatnot, then we're very grateful. Then they'll go ahead and stop their rentals. But not every rental has a guided staff member out there with them. But I do know that they do send out like an instructor for some of the larger groups that will go out and kind of do somewhat of a tour and also kind of help keep them somewhat wrangled together. But for us, I don't really know what their legal constraints are. For us, we're just, when the alarm comes through that somebody needs help, our main job is just to help the people. I think that might be a better question for DLNR.
Ted, are you good?
It's good.
Thank you very much. Members present? Auntie Johnny May online, and then we'll come back to Ohana here.
Thank you,
Question
Chair.
for- Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you for your rescue for the father and son. If I heard correctly on the news, you went towards Yokohama to the west side of the island to extend the search. Is that what took place?
Well, for the specifically for the
the
search
father,
for the father and son.
and the son, you went towards Yokohama to further the search rather than towards Kailua?
They went both directions. Went all the way up. They had the big C-130 jumbo jet doing grid pattern search. Was it HFD along with the Coast Guard were utilizing their helicopters. So when one comes down to fuel, the other one goes up. So there was never a moment where there wasn't one of the helicopters in the air. I know they went up as far and checked at least into Kailua, Kailua Bay, and then I know they dropped a marker buoy, which did end up following the current further out. I can't say exactly how many miles out from the Salt Shore, but that's what warranted them. And that was pretty much their standard. They're going to go grid pattern up, grid pattern out, and grid pattern down. I'm not too sure that they went all the way to Yokohama, but I wouldn't be surprised. That C-130 covers a lot of ground very quickly.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Mahalo nui, Auntie. Anyone else, community members online? Community members here for ocean safety. Seeing and hearing none. Aka mahalo nui for your service. Thanks for joining us.
Mahalo.
Be safe. Do we have anyone from DoCare this evening? Seeing none, we're going to move on for public agencies reports, and then we also have community organizations reports. I'm going to ask if we can send in or submit questions to me so I can get your answers to you. Our agenda is too full for us to get through and have conversations this evening on every single agenda. Remove your opportunity to engage with these individuals just tonight with the information that we need to cover. We're just not going to have enough time to do everything, and we want to give everybody the opportunity to speak when they need to speak. So for the next agenda item number 5 and 6, I'm just going to ask if you do have questions, please come and see me, write them down, let us know so we can get you an answer to them. Okay Mahalo. We're going to move with Board of Water Supply first, followed by Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative. Danny?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good. Mahalo.
Okay, yeah, my speaker computer's on its last wind. All right, so hi, this is Danielle Ornelas from Board of Water Supply. Water main break information for the month of May. There were 3 20-inch main, an 8-inch main, another 8-inch main. Installation dates are 1960, 1973, and 2016. And the announcement for the month from the Board of Water. Each year, Board of Water conducts thousands of tests regarding water sources and the distribution system to ensure that municipal water meets or exceeds all federal and state safe drinking water standards. We share this information 2 times per year, and they are mailed to your home end of July and again end of the year. You can also get your own report at boardofwatersupply.com. You just enter your address. We also are having on August 1st, Saturday, at the Halava Xeriscape at 99-1268 Eva Ena Road in Halava Valley, our annual Unthirsty plant sale. The hours are a little shorter than normal. This year it is August 1st, again, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have plans for purchase. We have seminars, free gifts. I believe we have the worm guide. We have free mulch, free street parking, or you can also park at the city and county lot. We also have shuttles driving everyone to and from parking and to the plant sale. And if you're coming, it's just credit cards only. It's a nice event. If you haven't been to our park, it's just a nice place to gather. Also, it's also open on Saturdays and Wednesdays throughout the year. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Danny, thank you so much for your report. I apologize, we're rushing through it. But
No
if
worries.
anyone does have any information or questions, how can they contact you?
Oh yeah, you can actually call my work line 748-5335. You can also call our information line 748-5041. That's the community service department. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you so much, Danny. Mahalo nui for your update. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to move on to Director Laura Thielen with the Office of Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Director, the time is yours. Thank you for being here.
Hello. So Laura Thielen on behalf of Mayor Blangiardi. A couple announcements. First was the Honolulu Emergency Services Department hosted its third annual Mass Casualty Incident Preparedness Conference. So in addition to local speakers, the two-day event brought together approximately 300 attendees in Hawaii and featured some guest speakers from across the country, including doctors and veterinarians who oversee emergency medical services and fire operations in a number of states. So there was a lot of sharing of firsthand experience in preparing for and responding to mass casualty incidents, and it's been very helpful in beefing up our local ability to prepare for response for these events. So the Emergency Services Department will plan on having a fourth gathering next year, and hopefully this will continue to be an annual event to keep us safe and prepared. A second item coming up is the City Department of Transportation Services is working on lowering speed limits in school zones across Oahu. Now they're doing this in city streets, so I'm not sure whether this would cover the highway in front of Waimānalo Elementary and Intermediate, but certainly in Blanche Pope, but where they would change the speed limit from 25 miles an hour near schools to 20 miles an hour during the morning hours and school operation hours when the kids are out and about. And then last item, sorry, I had this on my notes and I can't find it now, but I will stick around on the agenda because I know you have a couple items at the end of the agenda to deal with on park-related matters. And sorry, I just found my notes. I had a conversation with the Deputy Director for Ocean Safety, and we do have the couple containers at Hunananiho. And I've told him that the park department would support them if they wanted to build on that site a facility for storing their equipment and materials. And all I ask for is that they do a similar thing to how we do in other beach parks, where we have an area for them to store places in Hunananiho. If they build something, that they have, you know, a third unit, so they could have 2 units for ocean safety and then a third one for the park staff there, so they can have a secure location. We're still working with them to get the golf cart and some other support for their operations, but without a secure location, even with a golf cart, it would have to be housed probably at the district park. So that's it.
Director, thank you so much for the presentation and update. Again, apologies on the rush through. If anyone is interested, director's information is present, and you may also again contact myself, and I'm happy to go and get the information for you. Mahalo, Director. We're going to move on. Do we have Mr. Abe from Hawaii State Department of Transportation online?
Yes, good evening, Chair Kane, members of Waimānalo Neighborhood Board, Casey Abe from the State DOT Highways. Apologize for missing June's meeting, but I was on vacation leave. During the May's meeting, I mentioned about some overgrowth from private property intruding onto our pedestrian sidewalk just past Ole Street going westbound on Colonial Highway. During my field inspection last week Monday, I noticed our maintenance crew trimmed back the overgrowth. During my field trip last Monday and this morning, I noticed some graffiti, some overgrowth that is blocking existing signs, and 2 sign posts that are missing their signs. I'll work with our maintenance crew to address these concerns. I also want to thank the resident at 41686 Colonial Highway for securing the missing advanced pedestrian crossing sign when it fell from the signpost. I'll have our maintenance crew reach out to the resident to retrieve the sign and reinstall the sign on the post. And finally, I noticed the homeless are keeping our maintenance crew busy with picking up their trash, and our homeless coordinator with having to remind them to park their bikes behind our guardrail and not along our paved shoulder, which can cause an accident. This concludes my report. I can take any questions.
Mahalo, Mr. Abe. Thank you. We're going to make sure that we have your information shared in the event that folks do want to share comment or questions. For this evening, my apologies on rushing through the agenda, but thank you so much for being here. We're going to move on to community organization reports. Again, similarly, if there's something that interests you with these reports, please let me know so we can connect you with the appropriate presenter. I'm going to start with Waimānalo Elementary and Intermediate. They submitted a short report basically outlining some of the work that they're going to be doing, and I'll be reading it as such. Learning targets, Success criteria and feedback are part of their impact checklist that they are working on, 1.34 North Star impact checklist. They do want to share, they had a new teacher orientation actually today, Kekula Kaiaulu o Waimānalo, Kapapahana Kaiapuni, Kekula Kaiapuni o Waimānalo, talking about an academic plan, 30, 60, 90-day plan, and emphasis on reading as a foundation for learning. They are going to be starting a pathway of Kaiapuni here, and that's part of their learning. They're celebrating some upcoming events, including the Kaiapuni with Kumu Mahelani Inos, Nuukia Haumana Kaiapuni, vision of a Kaiapuni graduate to demonstrate Hawaiian language proficiency in various settings, apply knowledge and skills related to Hawaiian culture, understandings and ways of being, exemplify responsible, caring, familial, and community stewardship, and matriculate into roles and responsibilities beyond Kapapahana Kaiapuni that sustain the individual student, their respective in communities, and by extension, the Kaiapuni vision, mission, and core priorities. They have a 3-year success plan, as I shared earlier, August and September. They were designated a CSI all school due to elementary school data, and growth in middle school to number 14 on the top. Okay, let me get you that information. They have a whole slideshow here that we'll share out with you folks in our Google Drive instead of reading through 29 slides this evening. But the meet and greets this year, they're shifting practice to build massive energetic momentum right from the start, getting ready to welcome families back for upcoming Ekomomai event on Friday, July 31st from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And that's their outline for this evening. So mahalo nui to Waimānalo Elementary and their efforts. Do we have anyone from Blanche Pope this evening? Kekula Kaiapuni o Waimānalo? Malamahonua Public Charter School? Kapi, are you sharing anything? Went break. Okay, moving on. Kula Kaiapuni o Kailua? Hoko, any updates?
Aloha. So Kaipuni is for us. We are going to be meeting the Kula Vaina as well as Kula Ha'aha'a, our own of Kulu, to because I'm not expecting a new freshman class until 2 more years. Currently, the 7th grade is our next freshman class, so we're going to be building them into our programming at Kekula Kaiapuni o Kailua. Hey, Valulu. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui. Hui malama o ke kai? Hearing none. Windward Community College? Hearing none. University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, Auntie Ilima? Auntie Ilima, are you online?
You hear me? Kala, my phone is.
Yep, go ahead.
Just wanted to update everybody. It's been a busy summer, really hot. We've been having a lot of visitors to our site for site visits. We also had our hoike for goldfish. This week we welcome some visitors from out of state, and throughout the week we'll have LT Liliuokalani Trust, Kamale, and the Summer Research Institute students who are college and high school students visiting. That's about it. And I know you guys are busy, but if anybody has anything, you can email me at lipu'upu'u@hawaii.edu. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Auntie Ilima. Mahalo nui. Hawaii Job Corps, Auntie Julie. Thank you so much for being here.
Aloha, Julie Dugan, Hawaii Job Corps. I just want to remind the community that we're open for enrollment. We're at about 85% capacity. Funding's looking strong for the next year. We also have some great openings. So if you know anyone right here, we can work right here in Waimānalo. We have residential advisors, maintenance workers, food services. We even have an outreach position. So a great place to work. My contact information is in the agenda. We also do tours every Thursday at 9 o'clock. Aloha.
Auntie Julie, thank you so much. We're going to move on to Waimānalo Health Center.
Aloha, my name's
Thanks,
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Hi, very quickly, there was a question last month from board member Canella about our careers positions and if applicants have to be 18 years old. So to answer that, applicants must have their high school diploma or their GED.
Mahalo, Jasmine. So much for that update. Do we have anyone here from the Waimānalo Hawaiian Homestead Association? Hearing none, we're going to move on. Bellows Air Force Station. Jennifer, are you on right now? Okay. Bellows Air Force Station does have an update. They're going to have the U.S. Air Force 18th Wing, in conjunction with the Air Force Civil Engineering Center, will conduct a Restoration Advisory Board meeting on 29 July 2026 at 7 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time for Bellows Air Force Station at the Reservation Building 220 Tinker Road, Bellows Air Force Station, Waimānalo Conference Room. If folks are interested and want that information to register, you do need to register. Please let us know so that we can send you that registration information. Again, this is for the RAB, Restoration Advisory Board meeting, held on July 29th, 2026 at 7 p.m. on Bellows at the conference room space. Mahalo nui. We are going to move on to Marine Corps Base Hawaii. And although we have Christy listed, we're going to welcome up Megan.
Right. Aloha. Yes,
Aloha, Mai.
I am here on behalf of Miss Christy Kaluhiva tonight. Megan Ostrom. I am working at Marine Corps Base Hawaii again. I worked there 3 years ago and now came back home to work on the windward side. So I'm Christy and I are on the same team together. I'd like to introduce our new commanding officer of Marine Corps Base Hawaii, Colonel Steve DeTrenis.
Hi. While I'm new to Marine Corps Base Hawaii, I'm not new to Hawaii. My wife, Margaret, and I, wife of almost 23 years, and our 8 children have been here since 2023. I worked on Camp Smith for a few years, and we've been living on this side. So 1 kid graduated, Damien already, 2 are there. We have 1 starting Kailua High School. He did Kailua Intermediate. He's our special guy. And then we have a few, 4 at home homeschooled that like to surf a lot and enjoy all parts of both sides of the island. Got to spend time with your honorable chair last week. And just one thing wanted to express. In this job, the Marine Corps in Hawaii has a few no-fail missions. Our first and foremost is to prepare our tenant units' build readiness, to project them forward. And if you've been paying attention, we had a lot of units here go forward with what was going on in Iran. They were in Diego Garcia and they were in the Straits of Hormuz. So that's our first role and responsibility, as the installation. Our second is to protect, and I'm going to kind of touch number 2 and number 3 are related. It's to protect and defend, really protect their families and our infrastructure first. So when they go forward, they're not looking over their shoulder, wondering how their families are going to be. And the defend happens on the whole windward side. So our third kind of no-fail mission is to integrate with our joint partners. That's the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, our police forces, firemen, and then the local communities. And when I say defend, when we say defend, the number 1 mission or task in the National Defense Strategy, so that's all, is Homeland Defense. And we are the Department of Defense, Department of War representatives on the windward side. So when we think protection and defense, we think the entire community. So we thought that that would be kind of an interesting approach or something to talk about. I know we're trying to move fast, so I'll turn it back over to Megan after I introduce our Sergeant Major, Senior Enlisted Leader, Adan Moreno.
Good evening, family, friends, and all. We're here. This is my second time here in Hawaii. Right before I was here, but from 2019 to 2022. Unlike Colonel Trez, I only have 1 daughter. She's obviously, she left the nest. She's a family practice. She's a doctor up there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My wife and I love it here in Hawaii as much as my wife would love to stay here. We're gonna move someday, right? But Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And yeah, after the meeting, no one, we're moving fast. If anybody wants to chat outside, we'd love to talk.
And just a couple of relevant updates for the community. So thank you. Bellows Beach closure will be happening the weekend of 24 to 27 of July. And RIMPAC continues. So this is associated with a RIMPAC events. So appreciate everyone's patience while we, support our readiness here. And then the beach will be open again for camping, recreation, and all those fun things. Also, we did unfortunately have some vandalism over the weekend at the training area at Bellows. There was several portions of the fence that were cut, and then there was property damage inside the fence, inside the fenced area. We're working with HPD towards trying to find out a little bit more information about that, and working on how we can minimize the damage to property and to the fence and everything. And then lastly, just appreciate anyone that paddles, came out for the Kalpiko Regatta at the at Kaneohe Marine Corps Base in Kaneohe Bay this weekend. It was a great event, and it was really wonderful being able to welcome the community and have that event out there that we're hoping and planning to continue to make an annual event. And again, any questions afterwards, or also please feel free to pass them to chair, and then we can always work on having those responses ready for the next meeting. Mahalo.
Again, thank you so much for being here. Gentlemen, thank you folks for joining us as well. We're going to move on to Hawaii Army National Guard. Hearing none. Okay, we're going to push into our resident community concerns. We do have some folks that are here to present. Amber?
Hi, yes, good
Amber
evening.
with Grow?
Hi, can you hear me?
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, do you have anything to share on screen, Amber?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you should have access to it. Please check. Anton, if you want to sit somewhere over here, everyone's going to stare at you the whole time if it makes it weird. There's plenty. We can move chairs. Okay.
Can you
Okay.
see my screen?
You're good to go. Yes, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the board and community. My name is Amber Unabia, and I'm with the City and County of Honolulu Refuse Division. I'm a recycling specialist. So I'm just going to briefly introduce the city's new GROW program. GROW stands for Green Recycling Organic Waste, and this program expands the use of the green compost carts to include food waste and wasted food. So this program will affect homes that have the 3 carts. So that's the gray, blue, and green curbside carts. So this program helps address the approximately 60,000 tons of residential food waste generated on Oahu each year, and supports the city's goal of achieving 95% landfill diversion by 2030. So what is changing? So the only thing that's really changing is that you are now able to, or will be able to, put food scraps and wasted food in your green compost cart. The pilot program actually began on April 1st in the 6 piloted areas. So that's Waipahu, Nanakuli, Hawaii, Mililani, Kailua, and Kalihi. But starting October 1st, we will be going island-wide with the program. So residents may put in your usual green waste. So that's the list on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, that is the food waste, wasted food and food scrap list that we are accepting into the green compost bins. I do want to highlight that you will be able to include meat, seafood, leftovers, loose coffee grounds, and loose tea leaves. So no coffee filters, no tea bags. And you'll also be able to put dairy products, solids, and semi-solids only. So that is your cheeses and your yogurts. No liquids like milk or ice cream. Okay. And then what can't go in the green compost cart, this is a list of some of the items that we do not want in the cart. I do want to highlight that plastic, paper products, glass, metal, liquids, and pet waste should not go into your green compost cart, as well as what we call manufactured compostable materials. So that is more commonly known as the takeout packaging that says compostable on it. We're not taking it at this moment due to concerns about PFAS. We're not quite sure if these materials do have PFAS in them. So out of caution, we are just not accepting them at this moment. So how can residents participate? So you can collect your food waste in any type of container, so a kitchen collection pail, or you can use a reusable bag or resealable storage bag, or you may also repurpose a container with a lid. So that's like a yogurt tub or a chili container, as long as you're able to seal the lid on top. And we also recommend considering freezing your food scraps until the night before or morning of your collection day. And if you do have any odors, we do say that sprinkling baking soda or coffee grounds can minimize the odors of your food waste. I do want to note that your collection day will remain the same, so there's no changes to your collection, meaning we won't be adding any additional collection days for your green waste. And then we also want to highlight to consider layering your green waste on the bottom of your green compost cart to absorb any residual liquid from your food scraps, and just keep alternating those layers. So residents are also can also self-drop off food scraps, wasted food, and green waste free of charge at Hawaiian Earth Recycling in Wahiawa. I know that's kind of far for you guys, but it is an option. You are allowed up to 2 loads per day if you're using your regular residential vehicle. But the city's transfer station and convenience centers will still be only accepting green waste, so no food waste. So what happens after the food waste and green waste is collected? It is taken to Hawaiian Earth Recycling to be composted using an in-vessel system. The compost is then sold to individuals and landscapers and other agricultural users. If you wanted to learn a little bit more about Hawaiian Earth, that is their website. And the city's recycling branch, we have been going out early in the morning to check curbside carts to collect data. What we're really looking for is contamination and participation rates in the piloted areas. This data will just help us to improve our educational materials once we do go island-wide. And this is some of our educational material. They can all be found on our GROW webpage, honolulu.gov/env/grow. So we have FAQ documents, brochures, and fact sheets. We've done a couple public workshops in the piloted areas, and we have been recently very active on social media, more Instagram and Facebook more than X. But I can put those in the chat after I'm done. But thank you so much for your time. That is the end of my presentation.
Mahalo nui. Thank you so much, Amber, for joining us and being here for that. Again, we'll ask folks who have questions to forward them. You can forward them to myself, or we've put the information to connect with Amber and her team into the chat as well. We're happy to provide that. Amber, if you are able to, is that presentation slide deck public? Okay, it's in the Google Drive already. Yes. Okay. Thanks, Melissa. All right. We're going to move on. Amber, thank you again for your time and your service this evening. Mahalo for your presentation. We're going to move on to the Honolulu Century Ride. Do we have Mr. Salas here or online? Thank you. Hi. Thanks for joining us. Please introduce yourself, and the time is yours.
My name is Christopher Salas. I'm from Hawaii Bicycling League, and I'm here to announce the Honolulu Century Ride happening September 27th on a Sunday. It will be the 43rd annual version of that. We also have our Waimānalo Backroads cleanup that we happen. This will be the 14th annual version of that. That will be next month on Saturday, August 15th, meeting up at Waimānalo District Park. But yeah, keep it short and sweet. If you guys have any questions, you can forward them to me, or I could take them now.
We're going to have them forwarded to you.
Of course.
Thank you so much for
No
being
worries,
here,
guys.
Mr.
Thank you
Salas.
very much for having
Appreciate
me.
your time. Do we have anyone representing the Evans bike ride? Okay. There was an email that came in to me, folks, on the Dick Evans, excuse me, let me get the name right. The Dick Evans Memorial Road Race is a legacy 112-mile bicycle race around the island of Oahu, starting and finishing in the Hawaii Kai area in Kalama Valley, going clockwise around the island for about 100 bicycle racers, starting at dawn and ending midday on Sunday, August 23rd. Since 1984, this legacy bicycle race was renamed to honor the legacy of Dick Evans, a great man and bicycle racer. Since his early demise, and it is Hawaii's flagship bicycle race, which many aspire to complete. This public event is organized by the Aloha State Bicycling Racing Association, a 501c3 nonprofit organization supported by the Hawaii Bicycling League and employs about 30 HPD special duty officers to manage traffic control and to minimize the effect on community. They will be going through the district about 10:15 to 12:30. If there are any questions, concerns, I will post that email address in the chat as well. And that comes from Adam and Kim. So mahalo nui for that. Okay, we have on the agenda, sorry, I'm gonna ask, is there any other community updates or public updates before we go into probably the bigger part of our meeting this evening? Anything different that's here? Yeah? Okay. Anybody else for community updates? Okay, you. Yeah, okay, and then Jenna. Mahalo Kalani.
E aloha mai kākou. Ua o kalani kalima hen kupa no ke ia aina. Just wanted to share that we'll have our 11th annual, our second, at Waimānalo School for La Ho'i Ho'ia. I know for plenty of you guys, this is something new, because I never see you guys all in 11 years. But that's okay. You guys all invited. We'll have vendors, we'll have speakers and entertainment. You guys will be learning the significance of the day. And just come on over. Come celebrate. I see some other Nakua Aina Waimānalo foundational family members in here. But just wanted to invite you all, if you guys want to grab one, and come and join us. This is August 1st from 9 to 4. You guys get any questions? Yes. I just gonna leave them over here.
Mahalo Kalani, thank you. Jenna? Yeah.
Hey, aloha kako. My name is Jenna McCaig, and on behalf of Waimānalo Warriors, I wanted to share that we are looking for more boys for our 8U and 10U tackle football team. We are at Waimānalo Beach Park. We have practices Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4:30 to 6:30. We're looking to keep our keiki in our own community, in our own hometown, to represent our own hometown. A lot of them go out and play, but we want them home. We want to represent Waimānalo. If anyone is interested, send them our way. So 4:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the beach park. You can check our Instagram page at Waimānalo Warriors. And then I have flyers over here on the table. If you guys want to put them up or just spread the word. Thank you. Mahalo.
Jenna, thank you. Okay, gang, hearing no others, we're gonna move into probably the most present conversations of the evening, and this is around Hui Mahi Ai Aina. I want to mahalo Councilmember Kia Aina, who's been listening to these conversations, obviously, in the meetings, who helped to organize some of the discussion points of this evening. Tonight is about trying to get the appropriate decision makers to share the updates more specifically. There's been quite a bit of misinformation, if we would, from different people all around. And so we wanted to make sure we could clarify the questions and comments. I will note that the intent of this briefing tonight is not to have a back and forth dialogue and make it and turn it into a town hall meeting. It feels like and seems like leadership around all of this project does need to coordinate something around that, and we will have to plan that out. And then we've designated some conversations from specific individuals to update the community more specifically about details, yeah, the specifics of the project, etc. And so it won't be a back and forth. We're going to hold off on questions until all presentations are provided. And then at which point we will coordinate how to ask and answer questions. We've allotted about 35 minutes max for this particular update this evening. Again, it's really just to get the department heads to answer and clarify certain things. And we're going to try and hold to that because we still have a significant amount of agenda. But I want to mahalo the folks for joining us tonight, including our community. Obviously, this is a very important conversation. And so for all of you folks that have been participating in this, mahalo nui. I'll shut up and give it over to Councilmember Kiaina. Mahalo, Councilmember.
Aloha, Chair, and good evening, community. Councilmember Esther Kia Aina, representing the 3rd District. At May's Neighborhood Board meeting, given the give and take between Pono Olu'olu as well as Hui Mahiai Aina, I felt that it was important to invite the pertinent state and city officials so we could answer a couple of critically important questions as a baseline. And those questions are, first, under what authority is this project moving forward? Second, even with the governor's proclamation, what needs to be done with regard to compliance of important environmental and historic preservation laws? And Kukana, of course, brought up an issue that is of top of mind, and that is, should this project be completed, can there be a preference either for Hawaiian homeland beneficiaries or people from Waimānalo? So this evening, I've invited a couple of folks who are online as well as in person. We have the director of the city's Department of Planning and Permitting, who's online, Don Takeuchi Apuna. We have Anton Kraki, who's the director of the city's Department of Community Services. We have Seiji Ogawa and Barry Chung of the State Department of Land and Natural Resources in their land division. And we have Jun Yang, of course, who's the homeless coordinator for the statewide office on homelessness and housing solutions. And we have Dwayne Cariso, who is the lead for Mahiai Development LLC, which is the project developer for the project on site. First, I think I need to clarify, and 2 months ago, because I'm a little rusty, I was involved at the outset of Hui Mahiai Aina, but then I left to DC and I came back, and during COVID it transitioned. So I felt that as I was trying to figure out the pertinent parties and remind myself about the history, I realized there's confusion within the community about Hui Mahiai Aina and Mahiai Development LLC. So the difference is that Hui Mahiai Aina was the nonprofit which Auntie Blanche runs, and it was the nonprofit that initially sought to have an agricultural lease with the Department of Land and Natural Resources. And this is in 2013, when I was actually at the Department of Land and Natural Resources. When I left to go to DC and I came back, the lease still had to go through environmental compliance processes, and they were almost there until COVID hit. And that lease was going to be for agricultural educational opportunities for the Waimānalo community. When COVID hit, there was a pivot to help our homeless community in Waimānalo. And so what had happened was, while there was initially an interest in transferring the DLNR lands to the city, it pivoted to the Department of Land and Natural Resources transferring the management to the State Department of Human Services, of which the State Office on Homelessness and Housing Solutions is the lead. So I just wanted to get that at the outset. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just have everyone do a brief explanation for their roles. 5 minutes, everybody, if possible, so that there could be in Q&A. I also wanted to assure the community that I spoke to the governor's chief of staff today. He is well aware of the concerns expressed by the community. It is a priority for him. Clearly, the concerns that have been raised, this is insufficient time frame, but I appreciate the neighborhood board to allowing for this to happen. So we will work with the governor's office for an appropriate time and venue to more thoroughly vet the questions that the community has over this project. So first, Director Apuna, are you online?
Yes, yes, I am.
Thank you so much for joining us. So Director, while this is a state-led project, the Department of Planning and Permitting does play a role. So I would like for you to briefly explain the role that you have with regard to permitting as well as flood mitigation.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Dawn Apuna, DPP. So some of the issues that I've heard about, there's an issue about a retaining wall that was put up, flood compliance, trees being bulldozed, and then EV Kupuna. So DPP does play a role in those oversight of those functions, but from what I understand, the project is working under the governor's EP, which allows them to waive certain requirements to an extent. But DPP continues to work with the developer in order to make sure health and safety is taken care of and that everything is to code. So some of the specifics, the retaining wall, there isn't a permit for it, but I believe either under the EP or just under general powers of the state that can preempt city powers, that they have moved forward with the retaining wall. They should put in a permit too, even though they have moved forward with that. Secondly, flood compliance, which is actually from the federal level, FEMA, but works down through DPP. We are making sure we're working with the contractor, the developer, to ensure that they are compliant with flood requirements. The trees being bulldozed, that would be a grubbing and grading issue. We did have inspectors go out and look. They did not have a permit, but I believe they're working under the EP, but we're monitoring the grading. We would require a permit anyways, but they are allowed to move forward under the EP. And then as far as EV Kupuna, I understand that the project is working with the state, with SHPD, and we did receive some correspondence from SHPD that they will require some archaeological monitoring. So many of these checks, they're not necessarily happening in the normal course, but they are happening, and DPP is involved to make sure that they comply. I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Now we'll have the Director of the city's Department of Community Services.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for having me here tonight. Anton Krucke, Director, Department of Community Services for the City and County of Honolulu. And the City and County of Honolulu is very interested in this project, but it is a state project. Our role in this project, really, I've been assigned to have oversight to bring the parties that need to review what's going on. And at the same time, in the budget that was just passed last week, the city's looking to invest in homeless programs in this area. And so you had 192 homeless reported in the last point in time count. That goes up to Kailua though, and Kaneohe, but that's how many you had. There's quite a few. And most of those were chronic homeless. And their reasons for being homeless were mostly domestic issues, fighting at home, and not being able to afford rent. And so the city wants to invest in this area to help you with that. And so we have put in the budget up to $2 million of an investment in the operation of some homeless activity. And we will put that out to bid. So it'll be a public process. I think that this project, given its size, the leadership involved, and the pedigree of previous projects that this developer has done, they would probably fare pretty well, but it will be a public process, and we'll put out the solicitation sometime this summer for up to $2 million. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, next, Department of Land and Natural Resources. Do we have Seiji Ogawa or Barry Chung online? Again, I know that the management has been transferred to the Department of Human Services, but since you guys were there from the outset and title still resides in DLNR, as you know, it's a public lands trust. I do know that there's several board members and community members who just want an explanation to just better understand the chain of management and who still has title for these lands. Is either of them still on?
Hi, good evening, Councilmember Kiaina. This is Seijo Gawa from Department of
Aloha,
Land.
Seiji. If you
Aloha.
could just explain for them how the project began, and there's a lot of confusion over Hui Mahiai Aina versus Mahiai Development. And I understand that in February of this year, you guys had an action item whereby you provided a lease after you got the management from DLNR to Mahiai Development LLC. So could you explain that a little bit?
Yes, I'm fairly new in my role as well, but from my understandings, in February we did EO this parcel over to State Office of Homelessness and Housing Solutions, which is Jun Yang's team. But we still maintain the fee, and now that they have the EO for this parcel, they are in charge of developing this parcel for their project needs.
Okay, and that is EO because we're speaking in acronyms. Is that executive
Oh,
order?
executive order, yes.
Okay. And are you able to explain the proclamation, or is that more for June?
I believe
The
June.
governor. Okay.
June
Anyway,
can-
Seichi, thank
yes.
you so much. I just wanted to make sure that someone from DLNR was here because you guys still have title to the land.
Yes.
And now June.
Good evening, Jun Yang with the Statewide Office on Homelessness and Housing Solutions. Council member and or the Director Donna Puna have given a pretty good summary of what has happened so far. Our office does maintain the management through the Department of Human Services. It is a little bit confusing, but let me try to explain. Through the DLNR process, the EO, the executive order, went over to the Department of Human Services. DLNR sent to the to Human Services, and our office, the statewide office on housing and homelessness and housing solutions, is the managing organization for this property. The project here is through the developer Mahiai Development LLC, and they are utilizing emergency to be able to expedite, not to waive, but to expedite a number of items, including the historic preservation, the SHPD process, and also to work on the flood mitigation through the Department of Planning and Permitting. All of these things are still working through a government process, as Director Puna had mentioned, but it is something that we are also monitoring through the whole entire development. And at the end of it, the one thing I do want to say is that this is a joint endeavor through the state, city, and nonprofit development to help serve our windward community over here. That has been always the case, and this is one that has been presented to both the community and to the board for the last couple of years.
Okay, if we could have Dwayne Carrizo, who is the lead for Mahiai LLC. You can talk about the project.
Thank you, Esther. While I'm here, Mahiai Development is a nonprofit organization, and we all do this manuahi. So with me is Mel Kanishi. He's part of our team, but I'm introducing these people because they're all going to have something to say about what we're doing. And Dexter Kubota, our engineer, and Eloy Suera, our architect. So what I need to tell all of you is that even if, well, we've gone through this process before in building Kahau Iki Village, as you know, and even if we're issued an executive order, we still need to get a permit at the end. So at the end, before any resident can occupy a building, you need to get a certificate of occupancy. And in order to get a certificate of occupancy, you need to have a building permit.
So we're going to answer questions after, Anakala.
I can answer.
Please hold on to your questions, but keep them in your thought. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll remember to ask you. So, so then, I lost my train of thought.
Permit.
Yeah, oh yeah, no matter what, we gotta get a permit. Yeah, we have to get a permit. And all of the people involved with our organization are some of the best in the industry. So they have a reputation to keep. And so in every aspect that we do is quality work, and it's at or exceeds whatever the building code requires. And maybe we can address the issue with Mel with Shifty, if you don't mind.
Good evening. My name is Mel Kanishigi. I'm part of the development group with Dwayne and others in the room. A question about SHPT. The requirements under SHPT are a little bit different under the emergency proclamation. Essentially, we can go forward with a bunch of things as long as we continue the process with SHPT. And in the end, we'll be giving them a report on everything that we've done. So that's what we're doing right now. We're in the process of following through with all of their requirements. So that was a specific question that Dwayne asked.
So Shifty have to do with the archaeological issues with the property. So Councilwoman Kiana reminded me that I need to actually summarize. So Hui Mahi'ai Development is building on the property 116 homes. And it's always been 116, but we've kind of like we've changed some of the types of units that are on the property. Wanna have more kupuna, so we put in kupuna housing. And then we had to end up providing more homes with multiple rooms, so you can have families in them. There's going to be a library, a clinic, and a live-in nurse. Yeah, and our hope is that all of the access land that surrounds the existing property will be used for agricultural purposes for the benefit of those who live in Hui Mahi'ai. I'm sorry, Mahi'ai development. Well, we're calling this Hui Mahi'ai Village. So I'll call Dexter Kubota, who can talk to you maybe about some of the drainage issues, the flood issues that we have. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Dexter Kubota. So we are the civil engineers for the project. And as Director Yang said, the emergency proclamation does not waive the permit process for us. We have gone in with grading permits in early January this year. We are working with DPP. We're addressing their comments. In the meantime, there was a new requirement regarding FEMA and their new map that was effective last month in June. And so which required us to address the new FEMA maps, which requires us to raise the site about a foot for freeboard. So we're kind of going through the process of regrading that site. So we don't have the permit yet, but we are in the process of addressing the comments. We intend to get that in back to DPP here pretty soon to try and address whatever mitigation and permitting requirements that we need. There's I know there was through the project when the wall was built, there was a concern about drainage. And one thing that we tried to look at is different options to address that. Now the Kona storm accentuated the problem. We are looking at putting a drain line that's through the wall to address that particular concern. We're looking to do that probably here in the next couple of weeks. So, so that's, you know, we are listening to the community. We are not done with the project yet. So not what you see out there will not be the final product. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Before I call up Lloyd Sueda, the architect, so after we're done, so our role with Mahi'ai development is to build, just like Kahawiki Village, we built Kahawiki Village and then we gave it to the Institute for Human Services. In this case, Mahi'ai development is building Hui Mahi'ai Village. And at the end, we'll be gifting it to Hui Mahi'ai Aina, Blanche's organization. So, Lloyd, at least say hi so they know who the designer of everything is.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Sueda. I'm the architect. I want to make it very clear that health and safety under this construction will not be compromised. All of the code will be followed. Yes, all of the code, all of the building code, mechanical, electrical code will be followed. And that's what we're going to do. And when we get our permit, the date on the current building code. That we don't have to worry. We're not compromising the construction. And these are not boxes that we are building. These are pitch roof. These are not cracker-bot boxes. It's slab on grade, stud wall construction, roofs, lights, convenient outlets, ceiling fans, and lights. So these people will have a chance to live. And that's what we're providing. And again, health and safety will not be compromised in the construction of the building. Besides, you know, Dwayne was saying, talking about what else, you know, we have a multi-purpose room. We have a classroom building. We have a, like you said, a health clinic. We have a nurse's station. We have a kitchen. We have a dining room. We have a laundry facility. So, and okay, before I leave, health and safety will not be compromised. Thank you.
Chair, so I leave it up to you if you wanted to field questions from the audience.
Yeah, did we run through everybody that was invited? Okay. So, you know, we want to provide as much opportunity. Again, I mentioned this was not designed to be the town hall conversation on this project. Yeah, it was intended to just bring information direct from the mouth of the people who are sitting in those places making those decisions. Okay, so we're not going to be able to run through every single question, but I do want to give us an opportunity to do so. We have just about 12 minutes, 15 max before we do have to push into the next set of agenda items. And I know that might not sit well with everybody, but that is where we are. And we have an accountability to all the other people that also came to the board to wait 2 months now for an answer from this board. So do we have any questions? There's a lot of chatter online. And, you know, respectfully, honestly, on the folks online, I'm going to notate your questions. If you don't mind, I'm going to try and run through them. I'm going to ask Melissa if we can maybe summarize some of the questions online to see if we can get more specific, if you can run through that real quickly. Well, that's not how we run this, Kukana. That was not how we decided on that. So if you have an opinion about that, please let us know when we go through those future meetings, yeah? We acknowledge those online first, and then we responsibly work with those here. So yeah, mahalo for that, Manao. But we're going to summarize those online, and then we'll come back to that. So addressing those here in person. Come to the mic. Come to the mic. Again, we're at 10 minutes, so mahalo. Yeah. And then, yeah, of course, you know, we're not here to ask the question to us, and then we'll see if we can get the appropriate response given to you from the directors. Go ahead. Just go first.
Aloha, my name is Kanala. I am a constituent and resident of Waimānalo. I would like to invite everyone here under Esther Kia Aina to the Pono Olu Olu Waimānalo Community Informational Meeting on July 23rd at the Waimānalo Halau. So Esther, if you could please, would it be okay if everyone here, a part of this team, to come and talk to the beneficiaries and those that are being impacted? So that was the question. Would it be okay if your team from Hui Mahiai Aina, Mahiai Developer LLC, to come to our Homestead Association meeting? Second one, I had a lot. Okay, I'll do this.
But let's be respectful of
Yes.
everyone else too, Canela. Thank you.
So given that the contract number Department of Human Services 25 Govern 007 was originally approved during the tenure and former DHS Director Ryan Yamane and Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, and in the light of public reporting investigation involving former state officials, will DHS authorize a public release and independent comprehensive audit on the Mahiai Developer LLC, AIO Foundation, and Huiai Mahiai Aina to ensure full transparency, accountability regarding all funds, contracts, expenditures, amendments, and deliverables that was associated with the first DHS 25 Gov 0074.
Okay, that's a very, very, very long question, which has a lot of information requests.
Summarize?
Try to get more specific if you can.
So in the original lease that was given by DLNR and DHS, Sylvia Luke and Director Ryan Yamane made the initial lease to AIO Foundation and Mahiai developers. Due to the current situation of those two officials being under investigation and auditing, we would like to see if they're open and DHS is open to actually auditing all of those involved in this contract, focusing on this TMK and this lease that was given.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you for the question. First, I want to make some clarifications. That's not exactly correct in what you've actually stated. The lease was created between the Department of Land and Natural Resources, who the director, and then to the Department of Human Services. That is going to be, as the state representative, either Ryan Yamane or Joe Campos, who is there now. It is not specifically due to an action that he has taken in any sort. So what we'll do is we'll bring this back to our attorneys and ask them if there's anything to look at. But I think that the developer on here does have something to say.
Yeah, so in the funds that, so we're also getting private funds to do this. It's not only public funds, and we expect to be audited. Everything that we do, we expect to be audited. We're transparent about everything that we do. And in the case of the lease, Mel worked on the lease and finished the lease. Mel, so you work directly with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and so it wasn't, those individuals weren't involved at all.
No.
I will respond more information because it comes to our halal association because we've been trying this for like 2 years to get the chance. Yeah, so we can.
Yeah, that is an outcome we're hoping to address. So that answer is there. If you have follow-ups, please note them so we can ask them at a later time. Did you have a question you wanted to ask? Okay, is there a specific question that you want? Okay. Okay, can we hold on comments then? I want to get question answered by these folks, that's why. Anyone else have questions? Mahalo for your thoughts. No, yeah. Anyone else questions for this team? Come. What we're trying to do is provide clarity. So mahalo, I do mahalo the comments. We'll get to them shortly. But if there's specific questions that you have for the people that are here. Thanks, Auntie Asha.
Hi, Sherry Vega,
Thank you.
community member. So I guess my question would be to the lady on online Department of Planning or DPP. you kept saying believe. You believe that through the emergency proclamation that they don't have to go through certain channels. So how is it that you don't know what the emergency proclamation allows you to let them do their work, or your work and your work and your work and your work and your work?
Oh, okay.
I don't understand how there's an emergency proclamation and now you're on your 24th, and apparently it's 60 days for every proclamation. What I don't understand is, what is the emergency? Why is it taking you so long to figure out 24 proclamations and you still not done with whatever? And we still have homeless. You just told me that 100 whatever homeless is in from Kaneohe to Kailua to Waimānalo. I mean, you still never take care of the plan. And you can tell me you helping.
Well,
the-
let's stay focused on that, the
Yeah.
question, Auntie Vega, on the belief. Don, you have a response to that as far as clarifying?
Well, I think it's semantics. I mean, I believe, meaning that's what the EP does. It doesn't mean I don't know. I do know what it does. It does waive some requirements and allows them to do these things. So believe means I understand what the EP does and what it allows a developer to do. And as far as the questions about the homeless, why are you asking why we haven't solved the homeless crisis? Because I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to provide housing in this way. So I don't know how to answer your question, and other than to say we're here to fix that issue, and this is one of the projects that help to do that.
And DPP also, Auntie, is the city, so they're not the one that made the EO, but okay.
So, and then can I address one more question?
Okay, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, so you keep saying that health issue, you never put up any barriers when you brought in that dirt. You guys said it's only a foot of dirt? Yeah, I swear you guys, Auntie Blanche said 2 months ago that, what did you say? You said that the civil
Auntie Sherry, sorry.
engineers came in, and the civil engineers came in and they told you that that area was not in flood zone.
Auntie Sherry, can you address me?
Oh,
We're
sorry.
not trying to
So
pin
the-
anybody out.
I'm sorry. Yes,
No,
I'm
it's okay.
supposed to
I
address you.
understand.
So it was said that she said that it was the area that she's moving into was not in flood zone. So if it wasn't in flood zone, why did you elevate 5 foot of dirt and then a retaining wall to hold in that dirt, and then turn around and this man saying, oh, we took care of all the safety issues and the health of who?
Got it.
Who are we helping? I mean, you're going to put us all in danger. And I live on Hawaiian homelands, which is adjacent to the property that it's there. So I don't understand how one hand takes care of the other. And I guess the question is, I don't know how you guys sleep at night knowing that you guys doing stuff that not supposed to, and what you're saying is not what you guys doing.
Okay.
You guys are
So
doing
the
opposite.
issue I heard, Auntie Sherry, clarify, is they said 1 feet. You're saying there's more than 1 feet of filling. Can somebody speak to that? Thank you, Kanala. Can anyone from the team speak to that discrepancy?
I think I can speak to that.
Dexter
Hold on, we'll go here real quick and then we'll come back to you.
Dexter can better address the issue, but you know, the issue about the 1 foot, it was that the county changed the code that forced us to raise it an additional foot. That's what Dexter was referring to, but maybe Dexter can talk about.
Yeah, go ahead and answer.
So thank you for the question. Yeah, so I think it was misunderstanding. What I meant was that we had to raise the elevation that we're designing toward, which was 11.8 feet to 12.8 feet, because of the recent requirement by the city. I believe it was Bill 34 that was passed, I believe last month. So that would put us in compliance with the current codes. So it was not raising a total 1 feet, it's just an additional 1 foot. So that's that's our clarification behind that question.
Okay. Don, can you add to that, Don? I think I'm sorry, there was a question clarifying the height difference. What was the question? Sorry.
For-
What it should be and what it was revised to?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
thank you.
originally,
Go ahead.
so originally, to meet the FEMA requirements, when we first started the project, we designed it to 11.8 feet elevation. And with the new requirements under Bill 34, which was passed last month, we had to raise an additional foot. So now we're designing it to 12.8 feet. That's to get it to meet the FEMA requirements for that area, which is
Wait, no, got it. No, wait, no.
Okay.
So, no, wait, no. So can we?
Yeah.
Let me clarify that. So,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So yes, the entire property is in a flood zone. That's true. What we did years ago was we did a topo map. We actually had a surveyor do a topo map of the entire property and found that where we're building Huimahiai village was the only place that FEMA, the federal government, said that you could actually build something on there because it was that part of the property was not in the flood zone. So that's the reason why the
Hold on, gang. Hold on. Let's just share what you need to share.
yeah. So what we're doing is consistent with what the federal flood laws allow us to do.
Okay. Don, you have something to add on DPP side?
No, that's accurate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go with comments.
Yeah, and actually I developed a question.
Great.
Okay, so comment number 1, a proclamation does not transfer title. Never did, never will. Notice the avoidance, yeah? Number 2, an executive order shall never did transfer title. Okay, beneficiaries under the crown remain beneficiaries under the crown. And just because you guys come up with this idea, human services, oh, let's go put these people somewhere, does not and will not ever displace beneficiaries for others who don't have a place in this aina, not in this kuleana. Okay, so maybe you guys got to go move this project. Okay, if it isn't for people dying on a list right now that none of you going to stand up to protect, you need to move. Okay? These are all beneficiaries, all, because that's not what I'm hearing. Can each of you confirm that?
So the property still, the property didn't transfer, it's just a lease was created. So
I was just making a comment on my question.
Hold on, gang.
wait,
Hold
wait,
on.
wait,
Hold on,
wait,
gang.
wait, hey, one,
Would you like me to repeat the question?
yes.
Okay.
I didn't get.
So the question is, are the recipients of this housing project all beneficiaries of Hawaiian Homes? Are they all Kanaka? 98.9? And that's confirmed.
Okay. So that's the answers that were provided this evening. We do have respectfully. Yep. I appreciate that. June, you have something to add because we're over time.
Okay.
And again, the commitment was to get a briefing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a deal on our parcel. This is not a DHHL parcel. And so this is under the management and executive responsibility of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. So at this point, that's all I wanted to say. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, we have 10,000 questions, gang. I respectfully understand that. Everybody get one nice question, sis. Everybody get one important question. Everybody get one short question. We didn't design tonight to do that.
They're here though.
I understand that. And so are the other people we committed to on the agenda 2 months ago.
They're here.
I know. And they're here too, waiting 2 months for an answer to a board thing that we had to push back because we didn't have an organization of this conversation prior to the board. Absolutely. That is what we want to do after this briefing. There was too much information that was flying around social media, around everybody's thoughts, and it got very, very ugly very, very fast. It is clear that this team, the individuals that are here collectively, owe this community that, a town hall, 100%. Mia, if I answer you, I have to answer everybody else.
I had my hand up before the comment.
Okay, we're gonna take Mia, and that is all we're gonna be able to do, gang. And I apologize up front, but that is what we have to do to get to the commitments, okay?
Okay.
The outcome tonight is yes, we have to have a town hall. Absolutely, 100% agree. And everybody needs to get their data and facts straight before we do that, okay? Which means we all have kuleana to go and do our due diligence, yeah? But we're not gonna spend the next couple minutes going back and forth and arguing the points. Mia, what is your question?
I need to figure out how to work this iPhone. I just have to say first that it's really hard. I try to compartmentalize everyone as human beings, but it's very difficult when you're causing so much destruction. My question has to do with the retaining wall, but I don't know how to close this. Do you know how to work an iPhone? Huh? Yes, please. Meanwhile, I want to say that there's been encroachment on beneficiaries and agriculture land.
Mahalo. Dwayne, you guys captured that? Dwayne,
So you guys are literally overstepping
encroachment.
your roles.
The question on the wall.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mia.
Sorry. Has the construction of the retaining wall been determined to be a breach of contract? If so, what corrective actions are required?
Okay. Is there someone that can answer that question from this team regarding the retaining wall? Architect, DPP.
Has the construction of the retaining wall been determined to be a breach of contract? If so, what corrective actions are required?
Thank you, folks. Mahalo.
This is Donna Puna. So
Go ahead, Don.
just real quickly, there wouldn't be any contract involved as far as with the state or the city. So I don't think it would be a breach of contract. Again, normally they would get the permit first and then move forward. They're moving forward, but they're gonna get the permit, and we have inspectors that are monitoring the work.
Okay, that is an answer. You have something else to add to that?
Actually, I felt the same way. I don't think there's a contract for the retaining wall. There, if you mean the breach of contract, meaning that the retaining wall is breaching the property line. We built that retaining wall about 5 feet inside of our property line. So it's not against the property line itself. So I'm not sure if that's meant to be the breach of contract necessarily, but.
Okay. Mahalo. We cannot keep going one more, gang. We still have the board. We didn't even let them ask any questions. We have people online that didn't ask any questions. And they've all sat through the same briefings that everybody else here did. So I agree. We're all experts in something. The experts are also present to answer questions. And I don't want us to argue about it, but again, we have a commitment to everybody else that's been sitting on this particular project, right? So respectfully, I'm going to ask you not to ask your question tonight. And we're going to ask everybody to ask their questions tonight. And everybody sitting on the board that wants to ask questions to not ask their questions tonight. And it sucks for everybody. Trust me, I get it. Hey, mahalo. Mahalo. Let's schedule that town hall and you guys can hash it out there. Yeah, that's the next step, honestly. So I'm okay if you guys want to be mad at me about it. We have a kuleana to get answers. The individuals in this room, listen to this community. Okay, where's the other people? I want to address you all one time. Dwayne, everybody else from the project team. Anton, thank you. Pono olu olu hui mahi ai aina. This project, while well-intended, has caused significant chaos in this community. While it may not have been the intention, we are trying to address an issue that has plagued this community for decades. We have a community that is of Native Hawaiian descent fighting for the right to live in this community. This has to be addressed. The neighborhood board is a pathway for that, but it is not the primary way for us to get these answers. We have 10,000 questions waiting to be answered, gang. It is important. Auntie Blanche, Mia, whoever is owning your folks' kuleana, we have to sit down and get this shit square. Everybody in here is upset. Everybody in here wishes well. Okay, so can we make a commitment vocally to just move towards the town hall?
As I mentioned at the outset, Chair, first of all, thank you. I talked to the governor's chief of staff this morning, and she did make a commitment. He was aware, the governor was aware of this tonight. They're aware of the concerns, and they know that it will not be adequately addressed this evening.
Understood.
But it would have to be at a time, they're going to be taking the lead, the governor's office. I did this as a follow-up to my commitment to the community.
You sure did.
Yeah.
And it is
then-
appreciated.
So it's going to be the governor's office is going to take the lead, location and timing, and work with the community.
Okay.
But I would think it'd take at least a month's notice.
Okay, so that is our next step. We can disagree on it all we want, gang. Okay, but that is an offering here. Okay, please be look out for when that next step comes out. Please come out and participate in it. Yeah. In the meantime, I still have the commitment of taking your questions and addressing it to the individuals here with a response. So if you guys are maikai to send that to me handwritten here tonight, emailed, please do that so we can get your questions some type of response ahead of that town hall. Okay, and I'll apologize again. The intention tonight wasn't to have a heart-racing conversation. It was to get specific details by individuals that we've seen and not seen over the course of the last 2 years. Okay, so mahalo nui to everybody for your participation and my sincere apologies that we could not ask everyone's questions. Okay, I take responsibility to that as well as all of us in this room that should. So we're gonna press on, recognizing that it is 8:57. Mahalo to the team, Dwayne, Don, you folks online. Thank you guys for making time and expect to make more. We're gonna move on. Thank you guys, Anton. We have some updates from individuals running for office. If you folks wanna come up, every one of you are gonna be given 3 minutes, given your circumstance and your roles. Please share what you need to share, and then the next people will go. So Bobby, Stephen, Micah, is Micah still here? And then Senator Lee and Representative Martin, you folks also will be given the same amount of time to address the community. Bobby?
Right on. Thank you, Chair. I feel like I should have a Frank DeLima sketch ready to go after all that.
I think you should not.
I'm going to keep it quick and say aloha. My name is Bobby Silva. I'm a Kailua boy, born and raised, but Waimānalo is my home. I spent the weekend at Sherwood with my family. I coached soccer. We played at the field. So it's very near and dear to me. But I'm also running for State Senate, District 25, which is Kailua all the way to Hawaii Kai, but Waimānalo is the bulk of that. So I'm here for you guys. I listened and I heard everything going on at that last part, and I'd love to talk to everybody about it later, okay? Hello, guys.
Bobby, thank you. Senator Lee, would you like 3 minutes as well to share? We're offering all of those running for office to provide a 3-minute update. Okay, Steve? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. I'm Steve Humschild. I'm running for District 51, which is Kailua and Waimānalo also. What I see coming up is really an economic problem that we're having. The cost of living is really atrocious. We're seeing a lot of local families leaving. Hawaiian families are not able to afford living here anymore. And I think solving the economic issue is part of solving homelessness. People can stay in their own homes before, we got to solve the root problem in addition to addressing the homelessness. So the economic issue is one that's very huge to me. The Native Hawaiian issue is very important to me because my wife and children are Hawaiian as well. And just like any other father or husband, you fight for their right to live on their lands with their culture and with their people. And I fight for that every day. as a father and a husband. As for me, myself, I have a science background and then I have a master's in business, and I've lived in the district for 23 years. I care deeply about this community and I want to impact change and do the best. I think everybody's really fortunate because everybody running for District 51 is really compassionate about our community. So no matter who wins, the community wins. Thanks for your time.
Steve, thank you very much. Micah?
Aloha, Chair, and board members. Thank you for having us here today. Kind of shaky because, first of all, I just wanted to get a show of hands of how many of you are born and raised from Waimānalo. Yeah. How many of you live and still in Waimānalo? As far as I know, I'm the only candidate from Waimānalo running and representing Waimānalo correctly. As you can see, the show of hands, I'm kind of sad that everyone left because could have been respectful to stay here and hear this conversation with all of us, especially because we want to represent the district. So mahalo for showing up. My name is Michael Kalama. It's a great honor that I get to speak today. My family has been rooted here in this community for generations. As you guys know, my mom ran for office when I was in elementary, intermediate, and high school. She currently is the native archaeologist. And that was a question that I had of mine. When can she see all of the documents on the Mahiaina? Especially because she is an archaeologist and I wanted to make those documents available to our community. That's very important. Growing up with strong Hawaiian values, I've been taught as a child to just be seen and not heard. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's because you're born and raised in Waimānalo and, you just listen to your kupunas, you learn by example, and you figure out what it's going to be like in the future. But I've also realized, there's a time in life where you can be both seen and heard, and that time is now. I'm a delegate for the District of Waimānalo, secretary for the Hawaiian Affairs Caucus, Hawaiian Affairs Outreach Chair. Also, as far as the Waimānalo community is lacking in representation. We've seen that year in and year out. I've seen it for my 40 years of life. For this, too often decisions, as you've seen tonight, are made without our voices. So my big important message to the Waimānalo community is voting. 2024, when we had a chance to vote, we had less than 2,000 of you voting, and we have more than 8,000 in the community. So if you want to see change, you cannot just walk out and leave. You have to vote. That's how you're going to get representation.
Micah, I'm going to ask you to bring your comments to a close.
I'll be here for more questions and answers, but guarantee you guys already know how I feel about Waimānalo. I love this place deeply, and that's why I'm still here fighting. Aloha.
Mahalo. Representative Martin, would you like to take this time? Okay, mahalo. We do have somebody online who is running for the office of governor. Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? And are you hearing us online? There you go.
I'm
Mahalo.
hearing you. Can you hear me? Oh, hi, aloha.
Yes.
Aloha,
Aloha.
aloha mai kako. O Lauren Kopoliahi Iaka Shem Koinoa no mano. I'm actually in Kailua right now. And I just wanted to say it makes me so sad to see our people fighting about how to take care of something that we know we need to take care of as a community. And I've been part of these conversations for years now. I went to the Hawaii Executive Collective. I've been taught Lomi, took my Lomi table to Auntie Blanche's place, gave them a Bible. And I don't understand why we don't feel comfortable talking about the elephant in the room, but it's something important to me. I worked in escrow and title for many years in real estate. We cannot continue to bypass laws because of po. You just cannot, no matter who's doing it. And I love Auntie Blanche, but clearly it's causing hakaka in the community. So I second what so many people have already said. Obviously, there needs to be a
Lauren,
town
I'm so
hall,
sorry.
and
Are you
mahalo
going
for
to
having
share?
me. Aloha.
Okay. You have
My
nothing to share
platform?
about your, no. Do you have anything to share about your
My
run?
platform?
Yeah, this wasn't
Yes,
a
I'm
time to
running for
address that
governor as a
conversation.
Democrat.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. So, yes, I am running for governor. And if I get the Democratic nomination, I will be running against Gary Cordery as a Democrat. And yeah, my name is Lauren Kopolia Hi'iakashim. I'm born and raised in Hawaii, and I'm 45 years old, and I'm the only woman on the ballot. So mahalo for having me. But I apologize. That's what I wanted to share, that it upsets me
Mahalo.
to see Hakaka involving this issue. Aloha.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, Mahalo, for your run. Anybody else online or anyone else in person that is running for elected office? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on. We have, starting with our elected officials reports, Councilmember Kiaina, followed by our Senator Chris Lee.
Aloha and good evening again. Just three quick updates. This Thursday before the zoning committee at the city, we will be considering two resolutions which may be of importance to community because I know the board is interested in it. The first is Resolution 26-159, urging the State Board of Land and Natural Resources to direct the Department of Land and Natural Resources Division of Aquatic Resources to adopt rules prohibiting the harvest of aquatic life from state of Hawaii marine waters for commercial aquarium purposes. The second measure is Resolution 26-160, urging the Hawaii State Legislature to enact legislation that prohibits the harvest of aquatic life from state of Hawaii marine waters for commercial aquarium purposes. Again, this is before the Committee on Zoning and Planning, July 16th at 9 o'clock. As many of you know, later in August, the Board of Natural Resources will be having a proposal regarding the permitting of harvesting aquatic reef fish. All of the various counties have already taken a position. So we are trying to close the loop on Oahu to make sure that we are on board. Highly recommend that the community come and voice their mana'o here or at the full council meeting on August 12th. And of course, an action alert will be going out when the DLNR board will be having this. I plan to testify as well. And I think collectively we can overcome this issue or hopefully affect change. I know that the state was unable, the legislature was unable to get the ban, but with all of the counties on board and the community united and new leadership, both, especially with the deputy as well as the chair, I think we might be able to affect change here. And real quickly, a land conservation workshop. There's been a lot of land acquisitions. So on August 17th at Hale Akoakoa at Windward Community College from 10 to 12:30, any nonprofit organization interested in agriculture, conservation, or historical lands, culturally important lands. We are targeting nonprofit organizations. We're going to have state, federal, and city officials there. So I just wanted to save the date for you guys. I'll remind you guys in the in August. And then on August 13th at Kailua Intermediate School, we are going to have a Windward Wildfire Preparedness Town Hall with both the city, state marshal. So it would be Department of Emergency Management, Honolulu Fire Department, Honolulu Police Department. I need to invite HECO and some of the major landowners. And so I will send out an action alert for that. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember mahalo nui for being here. We're going to go to State Senator Chris Lee, followed by State Representative Lisa Martin.
Hey, aloha, everybody. Really quick, just wanted to say for the emails on Auntie Blanche's project and everything else, I know we've been getting them as well, have updates. We've been working on that, but I'm going to not get into that since we had a long discussion and give a couple other updates. First of all, this year's been amazingly busy, so much so that it's been, especially these number of months going into the summer, 11 p.m. midnight plus in our office, especially toward the end of session. So I want to mahalo everybody for all those late night conversations and everything else going on. But what it's meant is we've actually been able to do a ton. And now being back out in the community again and out of the office is so refreshing because we can actually have conversations about that and talk about some of these things. I just want to highlight a couple because on average this year, around the state, amongst my colleagues in the Senate, I think the average legislator passed 8 bills and resolutions. But thanks to your guys' support and engagement on some of these issues, helping us, of the bills and resolutions I put in, we were able to pass 27 for our community. That is a record year for us, and it covers all kinds of stuff that people had asked for help on, including a couple different things to reduce energy costs, a couple new investment programs to be able to help reduce the cost of transportation for our local families and enable people to get into things that are going to really help transform the cost of living day to day for them. We're taking on the big ticket sales industry for folks who are trying to get tickets to concerts and events and feel like they're getting scalped by online folks who are totally extorting and boosting up the prices of these things. And creating a new local office to deploy real boots on the ground, help engage local community folks and get them work that is actually helping in our communities directly in ways we've never done here in Hawaii before that other places do, which is really exciting. We're starting a new program to help support community events with resources and funding, things that we do down here, like at the beach park and others. I know Kalani and others have asked for support over the years. We finally got that in place, which is really exciting. And we're creating a whole new network of conservation sanctuaries for our local native species, especially the endangered species. And most of all, on a couple of the local projects we've been working on, excited to announce, we put a whole thing through that Lisa and I had worked on that's going to provide Waimānalo Health Center with solar and storage. So that's going to reduce their monthly operating costs by as much as $35,000 a month, which they can now put into other services for the community, which is super exciting. We got the money moving from Malama Honua that we put in for the new admin building. And we're creating a new campus for all the invasive species work here on the windward side, because I know everybody's been grappling with that and doing so much out in our community. So we acquired the old HPU campus. So we're going to reconsolidate DLNR's operations and invasive species operations on the windward side for the first time, which is really awesome. And then separately put in another $1.5 million for cooling our schools, for programs to put in trees and things like that we've been working on for a number of years. And finally, the last thing I really want to just talk about is one of the biggest requests that we've had over these last couple of years, which is support for people's healthcare and their ability to afford that. And I really want to give a shout out to our colleagues who worked on this. The bill that I put in that was just signed into law will cancel the medical debt for 50,000 families throughout our state that people cannot afford to pay. That's roughly about 2,000 families here in our area. And I really want to shout out Representative Martin, who was the lead on the House side as the chair of the Human Services Committee for this, because it wouldn't have happened without her. But this is going to be huge. It's the first time in Hawaii we're doing anything like this, and it will transform finances for families who suddenly find that auntie or uncle or whoever it is suddenly in the hospital and are saddled with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills, and they cannot afford to pay, and now they're bankrupt, and they have no ability to afford a roof over their head. That's the kind of stuff that we've been working on. I'm really excited about it because it is by no means the be-all, end-all for our challenges. But this year, thanks to the community support, we're able to do a lot of this stuff for the very first time. So happy to dive into questions, but just want to say mahalo everybody for your guys' support getting this all done.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to hold on questions for the night.
Yeah,
if you
forward to
we'll get and sent over to you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo for your update. Rep. Martin? Thank you.
Oops. Aloha. So exciting evening. I have been here already since we finished session, so I've already talked about my legislation. So I'd just like to talk about some of the community things that have happened in the last month, because this community is so active and there's always stuff going on. So first of all, right before the canoe regatta, we had Kirkamanu organized another debris cleanup on the beach, a major one. And we had the helping out, we had the motorcycle riders, the ones who come to the parade every year, right? The Piki riders, and they really saved the day because we had some equipment failure. And the state played a role in that, both in the former Kaiona Beach cleanup and then again at this one, Waimānalo Beach Park, in paying for the debris removal, right? For the containers, transportation, and you also have to pay a fee to dump this stuff. So I really appreciate that collaboration where the community did 90% and the state could come in and just help a little bit and get the job done. So I'm hoping that this is a blueprint for the future. I also want to acknowledge our chair, Chair Kane here. He was one of the ones recognized by the Hawaii Invasive Species Council, which I've sat on since I started this job for 6 years, and recognized for his work with the koki, as well as another person who has been working on that. And Chair Kane has worked on pretty much all invasive species, but this time we were focusing on their work up in the valleys of Waimānalo, trying to control that situation. On invasive species, again, we've had multiple distribution events for coconut rhinoceros beetle prevention supplies. Now we have netting for trees, netting for mulch piles, traps with pheromones. We have organic pesticides that you could apply topically and still eat the coconuts. And we have synthetic pesticides, which maybe are a little bit more effective, but you need to trim the flowers and trim the coconuts or the fruit. And all of those are free. They're not free to our state. Taxpayers funded it. But now that we funded it, I really want our community to use it. And anybody can sign up at any time to get not just the supplies, but also instructions on use. And that's at CRB Hawaii /community. And if you sign up, they will email you personally and tell you what your options are for picking up. So nobody has to wait for another distribution event. You can do it at any time. And you can hui up. If people want to organize an event, they will come and do an event and bring a bunch of supplies and do some training, how to put the nets up, etc. So that's something that's available. I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah, right now we're doing bill signings. So it is, it's one by one, thinking about the impact of some of these bills. And because I'm chair of Human Services and Homelessness, that is one area of focus for me. And we've had some really great things that passed this session. The biggest thing financially was shoring up the funding for SNAP and Medicaid, right? That's something that the federal government made very significant cuts, and a lot of other states, particularly red states, I think they're just going to let people suffer and lose those services. But here in Hawaii, we decided not to, and we put a lot of money, over $100 million, into shoring up those services so that people can continue to receive those services uninterrupted. Other legislation, we finally got an almost decent ban on flavored vapes, which is a huge problem for kids, right? If you talk to principals, it's one of their number one concerns. If you talk to kids, they can't use the bathrooms because the bathrooms get locked because people are vaping in there. And then, of course, the health impact, a whole new generation. When my generation kind of stopped smoking, a whole new generation is getting addicted to nicotine. So we banned the disposables, which are also bad for the environment. And we also banned all the flavors that are not FDA approved, which is most flavors. So, so that's a first step. It's not what I asked for, but it's better than what we have. Other things, we have a lot of bills tomorrow we're going to sign around kupuna care, dementia research, rent supplement for kupuna. People, even though they have worked their whole life and they have Social Security and they have a pension, if they are on their own and they are not part of a family where everybody's pitching in, what they make every month or what they receive every month is not enough for affordable housing, for state subsidized affordable housing. So that gap is not really that big when it comes to the amount of money we spend as a state, but that gap is too much for them. And so we are just made permanent our kupuna rent subsidy, which gives about $500 a month to these people just to cover that difference. So anyways, open for questions, but really, oh, last thing, flooding. Flooding is, obviously we got reminded of the problems during the Waimānalo storms. It's been an issue on my mind since I started. And early on, folks might remember that we got a federally funded Army Corps of Engineers study that looked at the hydrology for the whole watershed of Waimānalo. And to my disappointment, the end product of that study was an updated flood zone map and, calculations of the water flowing, how much volume, et cetera. What I had wanted was projects. Not to fund the projects to do them, but identified projects. We know, everybody here knows if they live near it, where the choke points are, where the water gets backed up, et cetera. So we know that intuitively, but I wanted it with engineering specifications. So we could say, this is the scope of this project. This is a priority. Take these projects back to the community. We can't do them all at the same time. Which ones go first, right? And then once we have that, it would have a scope so we could know what the budget was going to be and we can try to get them funded. So now, fortunately, after almost 2.5 years after I applied for phase 2, when phase 1 wasn't what I had thought it was going to be, I applied for phase 2 and we just got it. So now there's going to be a second phase, which will not do any projects, but will identify specific projects. So it's the next step in a very long process. The other thing going on with flooding is in the House, we just started a new working group on flood prevention. And I think that will be very good for possibly in a collaborative way identifying projects. So it's not just me and Senator Lee asking for money for these projects, but part of a statewide initiative, kind of like after the Lahaina fires, we have statewide fire prevention efforts, and we're putting a lot of money into it. So I'm hoping that this could be, Waimānalo could just be part of a statewide effort. And it would be for infrastructure projects, but also it would just be for stream cleaning because our streams have so many different owners and everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. And even when it's clear.
Martin, I apologize. Can you wrap up your comments?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Even when it's clear that a private property owner is supposed to clean it, sometimes they literally cannot. They do not have the strength. They do not have the money. They're not going to do it. So we need to have an integrated system. So that is one thing we are working on with having the state take the lead. Thank you.
Mahalo nui for your update. Thank you for your service. We're going to move on, gang, with Governor Josh Green's office.
Hi there. Good evening.
Thank you.
Board members, chair, vice chair, committee members. My name is Randy Jung. I am here from the State of Hawaii's Military and Community Relations Office. On behalf, tonight I wear the hat of the representative for the Governor Green's office. So I brought his latest newsletter with me, and there are 3 things that come top of mind. Number 1 is strengthening wildfire preparedness. The state and the National Guard, they are putting up a program. It's called Operation Ho'opawahi, and it's to allow for more firefighting capabilities when communities need it most. Number 2, the state of Hawaii expanded their trauma-informed care access for state of Hawaii workers so that when they interface with people who have encountered trauma, they know how to carefully and with aloha work with people who have dealt with trauma. Number 3, the state of Hawaii continues investments in early childhood education. We recently opened our 100th public preschool. In the last year, there have been 600 more keiki, 3 and 4 years old, enrolled in public preschool programs. And the goal is to be 100% for preschool education, public preschool education by 2032. That's in 6 years. Here in Waimānalo, there is the Head Start program, which is a federally funded program, but there's also one of these public preschool programs that recently opened. So tonight was heavy. There's a lot. Councilwoman Kia Aina, what I heard her say was this conversation that we had about hui mahi ai, it's going to be turned over. This hope and this wish for a city hall, town hall meeting is going to be turned over to the governor's office. So I will be reporting back. Yeah, there's a lot. So questions, send them over to chair, and then I'm sure I'll get them that way. Mahalo.
Mahalo for being here. Thank you so much, Randy. We do have a representative from our federal delegation as well. Tolu, are you on? Office of our Congressperson Jill Takuda. Okay. Tolua, can you unmute if you have something to share this evening? If not, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, sorry, that wasn't him. Okay, we're going to move on, recognizing that there is a report, I believe, that was shared with us. So we'll go ahead and press on. We have some board business items. It is 9:25. We have at least 3 that need our opinion this evening. Firstly, are there any corrections needed for Monday, April 13th, 2026 meeting minutes? Board members, any corrections needed? Okay, hearing none. Are there any corrections needed for Monday, May 11th, 2026 meeting minutes? Board members. Seeing and hearing none, mahalo. Lastly, are there any amendments needed for Monday, June 8th, 2026 meeting minutes? Hearing none, we will approve all 3 months of meeting minutes this evening. Mahalo nui for your time. We have a letter to Glenn Okamoto. This is regarding the State Department of Agriculture and Biodiversity and Anson Moriyama, Jolene Ota, Community Planning and Engineering, Inc. This is their regarding their update to an intention to prepare a declaration of exemption for the Waimānalo Reservoir miscellaneous improvements, which was presented a few months back. Is there any discussion on that topic? We had a draft letter that articulated some of the concerns regarding the TMKs. And then we have some concern in that draft just about where to move responsibly through a environmental assessment. Are there any additional mana'o that needs to be captured in that from our board? Okay, anybody here? Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and submit that response. Again, the position of the board is that we are going to strongly urge and expect that they run through an environmental assessment. That is the position. Any objections to that? Anybody online? Okay, hearing none. You want us to take a vote? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a vote on that. Again, this is, it needs a motion. Who's gonna move to submit this letter? Mahalo Kuike for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mahalo Lily for the second. Thank you. All in favor of supporting this letter to expect an EA to be provided to this work in opposition, especially of the declaration of exemption, please vote aye. Aye. Folks online?
Aye.
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 Mahalo. Any in the nay position, please state your voice now. Hearing none. Anyone in the Kanalua space? Hearing none. Okay, it'll move out with all supporting that. Mahalo nui for your time and energy there. Lastly, or thirdly, we have a kuleana to the community climate mandate for East Oahu. Aloha, mahalo for being here. Is there any update you want to provide to the community and the board at this time before we take a position? Sure.
Aloha, so I'm Aloha McGuffey, and good to see you all again. I have now completed presentation of the climate and resiliency mandate for East Oahu to all 6 East Oahu neighborhood boards. So Waimānalo, Mauna Loa, Hawaii Kai, Kuli'o'o, Kalani'ike, Wailai Kahala, Kaimuki, and Palolo. And so far, I've received excellent responses from that. And based upon all the responses that came in, we recently have actually changed the planning now. We went from the climate and resiliency mandate, we are now into the next phase, which is the implementation phase. And so we've retitled the initiative, and now it's called AO CAN, EO standing for either East Oahu, or in Hawaiian can be translated to English, in agreement. And then CAN means is translated to Community Action Network. And the hope is to build a better community of East Oahu, again from Kaimuki Palolo all the way through Waimānalo. And the idea is that because we share the same Ko'olau Mountains watershed between our Mauna Loa Bay and Waimānalo Bay, we feel that it's very important that all of us come together to resolve some of the issues that are related not just to climate, but to the readiness of our communities. And I was so happy to hear some of the issues that are now being worked on in both the House and the Senate and the Council on flooding. That's one of the biggest issues that we have that's outlined in our mandate. Fire, another big issue that we recognized in these communities, and invasives. I was just in Palolo last week, and one of the biggest topics that they had was coqui frog. They go up, and in one night they catch 75. And so it's a huge issue for all of us here on Oahu. It's not just in the valleys, but eventually it's going to spread. And so we want to get involved in dealing with some of those issues. So that's the update. And I'm hoping that the Waimānalo board will work with us in the future. I know that there's some committees like Mauna Loa, their Hawaii Kai neighborhood board has a planning committee, and it's called the Standing and Environmental Committee. And it's that committee that we're going to be working with. In Waialae Kahala, we started a permitted interaction group to study the primary urban center development plan for that area and the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan. And that work will also include collaborating with the AOCAN initiative. So if your committee has a standing committee on sustainability and environment, or culture, or any agriculture, I'd love to be able to work directly with those groups.
Aloha, thank you so much for your patience and your understanding as the community has had some priorities ahead of yours. So mahalo nui for your patience in coming back. Members, essentially, we're going to submit comments. I haven't received any specific feedback directly to this particular presentation from any of our board members, but I invite us to do so, and we will get you a copy of that information this week. That is my commitment to get it to you.
You don't have to do it this week. As I mentioned, we are now transitioning to the AOCAN, and I'm hoping that I can get the steering committee, the AOCAN steering committee, to approve that new document, because one of the biggest additions is we are using the Aina Aloha Economic Futures Scorecard. And so we just completed the scoring of our framework, and we came out really good. However, they've also outlined, it also brought to our attention about 6 areas that we need to work a little harder on in the framework. And that's the, for example, excuse me, it's community engagement, how the implementation measurements, how are we going to measure community engagement, for example. So that's an area that it shows we need to do a little bit more. So I'm updating it, and may I send that to you as soon as I hear back from the steering committee, and then you can distribute it to the board, and then that way your board will have a more comprehensive document to review.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, mahalo
Mahalo
nui.
for that update.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Aloha. Members, we're going to take two more items. I apologize again. We have a little bit of things on here, but in relationship to what council member shared, if we want to take a position regarding aquarium collection of native fish, we took a position on this some time ago, but I am bringing it before the board if we want to update our position on it specific to the more current information and challenges that are kind of at our desk. So we took a position prior to Kako'o and support the shutting down of commercial aquarium fishing. And now with some of the newer updates with regards to 15 permits, which are currently being processed potentially. I wanted to see if the board wanted to update its position on it. Or did I cut you off? Did
Well,
I?
I'm just gonna say, at the right time, I can just say 2 words on that.
Okay, hold on one second. Yeah. Anybody from the board?
Mahalo Chair, just quickly for the record. I would love if the board would consider updating our position on this and we maintain the same stance with the updated information. Nothing really substantive has changed from the first time we looked at this issue a few years back. So, mahalo, Chair.
Okay, so there is that to update it. Is there a second?
Second.
Mahalo. Okay, we're in discussion. Senator, you have an update for this. Can you share that?
I was just hoping you guys were going to do it. Just going to make sure and just say it's really important, frankly, because we were this close to getting something through this year. I chair the Water Land Committee, which I'm very fortunate to, that deals with this issue directly. And some of our other colleagues were not as convinced, and having the level of support from boards around and communities around the island, especially in communities where you have homestead and all the other issues that come around this from the cultural angle, it's super helpful. So mahalo to you guys.
Mahalo. Is there any discussion, board members? Anybody online? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, any kanalua, any abstentions? Hearing none. Okay, we will get an updated copy of that and submit that into the next set of testimonies as required. Mahalo nui for that attention, gang. The last thing that I'll put on here because they had requested was Pono Olu Olu. Mia, you have an update here that you wanted to share, or Canela? We're gonna take Pono Olu Olu and then I'm gonna request that we defer E, F, G, H, I, and J. These are outstanding conversations that we've held over the past couple of years regarding some of the conversations that were generated in our committees, and we didn't quite push them. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of push some of them. If the board would be okay with that, I'd like to defer those items. Any opposition? Hearing none. Okay. Canela, your folks update for Pono Olu Olu, and then we'll move on. Mahalo.
Awesome. Okay, so good evening. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for sitting through that conversation. Pono Olu Olu was made to allow the voices to be heard, even if there's intimidation, retaliation, and all of those types of settings. Pono Olu Olu's update for this month of July 2026, we will be holding a Waimānalo informational meeting on July 23rd at the Waimānalo Hawaiian Home Association at 7 p.m. This is in regards to Hui Mahi Aina because it shows that the transparency in the conversations was not given to the community to allow the conversations and the questions to be asked and answered. With the setting we are seeing today, that has been the consistent conversation happening with this topic. So our first update was the Waimānalo Community Informational Meeting. Our second update is we did speak with DHHL, and for any beneficiaries on DHHL that was impacted by the Hui Mahiai development, by flooding, by the encroachment, by the retaining wall, we have a hard copy that we can share with the community on how to file a complaint properly with DHHL so that they can come in and they can investigate and then properly file within their agency, and finding ways to help understand our complaint and as well as support beneficiaries that are impacted. It is also a part of the administrative process that needs to get completed. So DHHL is hoping if any beneficiaries, please fill one of these out. If you need help, let Pono members know, because our goal is to help educate and support with filling this out. We have learned that although there's hard copies and mail-in, emailing has been really effective. So we still have our petition going out. Right now, we're over 500 signatures that is requesting for City and County of Honolulu in the state of Hawaii, and all responsible agencies and officials to take actions to protect the beneficiary and the agricultural leases. This is to protect beneficiary land, agricultural land, crown lands from flood damage and safety hazard. Also to secure that the properties that are already negatively impacted no longer gets any more impacted as it is. We do understand that right now under public trust, the LNR is the trustee of managing the land, which they gave the lease to DHS to authorize leases. But again, if we go back, that is still Crown land. Pono'olu's goal is to continue the correct conversation with truth, facts, and information. During this informational meeting, we thank the neighborhood board for allowing us to have this conversation, because Pono'olu now understands what we should share during this meeting. And we will bring about the UIPs and all of the emails and conversations and the truth that has sort of been skewed during our meeting tonight. So we appreciate you guys. We're not too sure how big it'll go out, but this is also for the beneficiaries to hear what's going on. I think that's, yeah, thank you.
Mahalo nui Kanala, thank you. And then please clarify again, as we talked about earlier, where you folks want to be seated in the agenda.
Yes, we're gonna talk to our core group and then we will see how they would like to sit on the agenda.
Understood. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. All right, gang, we're gonna move on. Meeting announcements. Any meeting announcements from the Neighborhood Commission office? None. I will say for those members that are here tonight, please take this stuff that I brought. It's been sitting with me for 2 years and nobody reached out to receive it from the NCO. So take it home or it's gonna get given back. Additionally, you know, I want to address something, and I apologize to the speakers as you folks are speaking. There was a very passionate conversation happening in the chat. So Rep. Martin, some of you folks that I was very distracted by. The chat is public information. So some of the stupidity that's been going on in the chat right now, I need it to be addressed, okay? And I appreciate that we all have passionate conversations, but you folks are listing names of individuals and family members that do not have the consent to be addressed in that way. Please note that, yeah? We are all responsible for the words we share. And right now, I'm so disappointed in what is happening in the chat. Moving on, Waimānalo Neighborhood Board number 32, regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 10th, 2026. Our broadcast schedule for the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board is on Olelo Channel 49 on the 4th Monday of the month, 9 p.m., and on the 1st and 3rd Saturdays of the month at 3 p.m. There are multitudes of meetings that take place, as we all know. Please go ahead and take a look, and if you feel inclined to participate, please do so. Lastly, for the Neighborhood Commission Office, I was asked how we might be able to I guess, secure sign language for our meeting. And if there's an opportunity there, we do have a Waimānalo resident who's willing to do so, but we want to make sure we're available to all people in our community. And so that was just asked of me last night and I didn't have an answer for them. So I would like to see if the NCO can figure that out for us and we can find out a way to make sure that our blind and deaf community also have access to our meetings. So if you can note that. Mahalo. Okay, Kako, it's been a long meeting and I appreciate everyone's patience, understanding, and the aloha in everything that we talk about. It's never, ever enough time for us to do what we need to do, but I mahalo those of you that are here and participating. I'm gonna ask if we can have our Vice Chair close us off in Pule, and then from there we will go ahead and end our meeting. Mahalo.
Huli kako. Au hea oe kia kua nui, nana noi ho ului kalani me ka honua na o no kamana. Nā kini a kua na au mā kua me nā kupuna. O ko pō me ke au. Ke aluhune o ko pakahea pau. Hea oe kia kua nui, mahalo no ka noho ana me mako kia hiahi kia manawa kuka kama ilio o nā mea pono kia kaiaulu kia awawa kia hupua o kako kia aina la o kako Waimānalo nei. Me ke la mahalo ia ko aloha no kako a me ko kako aloha no kako iho. No laila, hapai ia kia leo maha leo oe kia ko nui, kia noia oe kia ko nui e noho pono me mako i ko kako hoi ani, ko kako wahiku pono kia iahi. No laila, na noi kia mau mea apau, maki no ka kia me ko kako kama. O Yesu, amen. E mahalo.
Mahalo nui kuike. This adjourns our meeting at 9:45 p.m. Kako. Mahalo nui. Malama.